Hi, it's Dwyer, GamblersAdvisory.com. On Roku, public channel, Dwyer Boxing News. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. It's the week of the fight. Floyd Mayweather against Robert Guerrero. Now let's talk about the dynamic here. I personally believe that Robert Guerrero is one of the absolute toughest opponents that Floyd Mayweather could ever fight, right? I believe Robert Guerrero is a much tougher matchup for Floyd Mayweather than, let's say, someone like Manny Pacquiao. Because Guerrero, quite frankly, is a technician. He's not getting by on physical attributes. Right? He's not a guy who has fast hands, who midway through his career had to figure out how to throw a right hand. He's not a guy who leaves himself open that often. You know that because, of course, Robert Guerrero has never been knocked out, right? And so let's take a look at this fight. Let's think about the optical illusion in this fight. I believe this fight is a toss-up. I think the casinos, as I've said here online, have this fight wrong. Neither fighter should be a 5 or 6 to 1 underdog. I think that line is preposterous. Now just imagine you're 5'8". Just imagine that you're that rare fighter who actually fights at his walking around weight. In other words, the weigh-in is no big deal for you, right? You're already at fight weight. Now, just imagine if, even though the public recognizes your boxing greatness, even though the public views you as one of the best, if not the best, pound for pound in the sport. Just imagine if your opponents always underestimated you. Just imagine if your opponents, whether they're Oscar De La Hoya, Ricky Hatton, Victor Ortiz, Miguel Cotto, just imagine your opponents always believed that they can bully you, that they can out-muscle you, that they could get you into a corner, land a few shots, hurt you, smother you, drop you, take you out, end your unbeaten streak. Now just imagine if, and let's be blunt because we're online, just imagine if you're actually smarter than they are. And that strategy is predictable to you because you've been fighting for years, and that's what opponents always think. Because as good as you look on film, you're actually better in the ring. In other words, opponents come up, they try to bully you, they lower a shoulder, they're trying to muscle you into the ropes like Victor Ortiz did, and it was a tragedy because Ortiz could have fought a different fight. But just imagine that these guys who gained 20 pounds between fights, right, who literally have to lose 15 to 20 pounds to make weight, view you as a little guy, and they keep coming up. And just imagine if that's what you want, because that gives you a chance to show your skills. The short left hook that you can get off with leverage with your back touching the ropes, right? The defense that doesn't just hide your head, but actually hides your body, especially when you are able to turn away from a guy. How about the straight right hand that you're able to lead with? No jab in front of it. right? The other guy doesn't even get a chance to raise his hand to block a jab. No jab. You're able to throw that straight right hand without a jab, right? This isn't Vladimir Klitschko doing a 1-2. No, this is just a 2, right? Just imagine if you're able to throw that straight right hand up top with accuracy. And better yet, just imagine if you're actually one of the sport's better body punchers and no one knows it. Because that short left hook that you're able to throw up top and take guys out with, you also throw it low. You're also able to land that shot on people's kidneys, right? That straight right hand that you're able to hit guys with up top, you saw Oscar De La Hoya's head bouncing from that straight right hand. It got hit so often. Few people realize that you have actually knocked men out with the straight right hand to the body. Look at the Sharmba Mitchell fight. That tape's on YouTube. In fact, I've put that tape in my favorites one video file, right? I encourage everyone to take a look at it, right? So you're misunderstood. Also, punching power. Who else knocked out Victor Ortiz? Aren't you the first man to knock out Ricky Hatton? I thought Arturo Gatti went through wars with Mickey Ward. You stopped Arturo Gatti. And unlike Gotti's fights against others like Oscar De La Hoya, you actually weighed the same amount as Arturo Gatti. You weren't a big guy, 20 pounds heavier than Gatti. You're actually Gotti's weight and you knocked him out. Right? The public doesn't understand that when they look at the Miguel Cotto tape and people are commenting on the fact that your face was a little bit marked, no one talks about Cotto's face. Right? No one talks about the punches you landed. Right? In fact, if you're Floyd Mayweather, I believe you know that you could have ended that fight by knockout in the 12th round. Look at the 12th round. Tell me if Floyd doesn't take his foot off the gas. So if you're Mayweather, what do you want? You want these big guys to think they're boss. You want these big guys to take you for granted. You want them to foolishly try to bum rush you and literally to walk into your lead left hook. You don't even want the big guy to realize that you can hurt them, because the big guy is going to be so busy trying to get inside that he's going to get hit with elbows repeatedly on the way in. Just read the Victor Ortiz post-fight comments. Ortiz talks about how he was getting hit and beaten up and his eyes were having problems because as he charged in, Floyd Mayweather had his elbows up. Look at the film. Floyd Mayweather's not throwing elbows. Mayweather has his hands up defensively and knows, based on the angles, that Victor Ortiz is going to have to run into his elbow to get to him. Right? So Floyd wants a guy to fight exactly the kind of fight that Robert Guerrero fought against Selçuk Aydin when Guerrero's on top of Aydin, and against Andre Berto, where Guerrero's right on top of Andre Berto. Here's the problem. There are two Robert Guerreros. Right? If Robert Guerrero fights that I'm the big man, I'm going to bully you fight, he loses. Even I'll concede that. But I don't believe he's going to fight that fight. I think this is going to be that rare fight, and it's a guess. We'll find out if I'm right early. But I believe this is going to be that rare fight where an opponent actually invites Floyd Mayweather to be on his front foot. Right? Guerrero, in pre-fight comments, has talked about how Floyd Mayweather's legs are not what they used to be. Force him to use those legs. When's the last time you saw an opponent fight Floyd Mayweather and actually use length? Actually be so convinced in his own boxing ability, that the opponent thought he could outbox Floyd Mayweather. I believe that's what Robert Guerrero thinks. I believe that's the fight Robert Guerrero fought against Michael Caceres, against Joel Casamayor, against Vicente Escovedo. Guerrero can actually stay outside. He has a long jab. Length matters. If he's far enough away from Floyd Mayweather, how is Mayweather going to land that lead left hook? In fact, how is Mayweather even going to make his elbows an issue? How is Mayweather, if he's getting hit with right jabs, how is Mayweather going to land that lead straight right hand? If a boxing match breaks out, how is Mayweather going to match Guerrero in volume? Right? And if Mayweather gets anxious and jumps in, how do we know he's not going to get knocked down like Vicente Escovedo got knocked down? Right? So I'm expecting a weird dynamic in this fight. We haven't seen it for a while. I'm expecting Floyd Mayweather to be the hunter. I'm expecting Robert Guerrero to willingly be the hunted. I think Guerrero understands he's an elite boxer himself who might be able to outbox Floyd Mayweather from distance. At issue, the big question here is, does Mayweather still have the legs in his mid-30s to catch up with Robert Guerrero? In my opinion, that's an open question, not a resolved question. Right? That's not the kind of question that we can answer clearly and say, yes, Floyd Mayweather should be a 5 or 6 to 1 favorite. Rather, I believe we won't know the answer to that question until we get to the 3rd or 4th rounds. So let's go over keys here in this fight that I think leap out at us. The first, who's the hunter and who's the hunted? I know it's counterintuitive, but if Mayweather is the hunted, the fight's going his way. If Mayweather is the hunter, it gets interesting. The plot thickens. It might be going Guerrero's way. Other things to look at. If you look at Mayweather against Shambe Mitchell, a southpaw like Guerrero, you're going to see that rather than knock down Mitchell's right jab, Mayweather does something that only elite fighters would do. Mayweather knocks it down on occasion with an elbow. In fact, by having the elbow up, Mayweather interferes with the jab without throwing a lot of his own jabs. Right? Mayweather literally has a lean going, so Mitchell can't get too close to him on this side. Then, of course, Mayweather has his hand strategically placed. On occasion, will just move the hand ever so slightly, lean into it, and come back with a very hard left hook. Those are the games Mayweather plays. One of the things to look for in this fight is whether Robert Guerrero can land his right jab. How does Guerrero deal with the raised elbow? I can tell you in a different generation, Rocky Marciano would actually hit guys on their elbow. Right? The idea was, hey, you're going to use your hand as a weapon. I'm going to wreck this hand. So it's too painful for you to use it. Right? The key with Guerrero is, can Guerrero throw his jab over Mayweather's raised left? Or does the game become more cat and mousey where he fakes like he's throwing the jab over, leans in and starts hitting Mayweather's body with right hooks instead from a southpaw stance. That's a question that needs to be asked. Another is distance. Is Guerrero close enough to Mayweather to get hit with Mayweather's straight right hand? Because understand, if you're fighting Mayweather, you need to be prepared for his two primary weapons. In my opinion, they are the left hook that he can throw up top or to the body, and a straight right hand. Sometimes it's a lead right hand, but it's almost always straight that he throws up top and to the body, right? You need to be prepared for both. The other wrinkle is that Mayweather throws a pretty great left uppercut. Is Mayweather able to dodge Guerrero's right jab and then hit him with a left uppercut inside of the jab? Also, if you want to see uppercuts, understand that Guerrero is a master at throwing a left uppercut. He dropped Vicente Escobedo with one, right? So this fight to me is going to be a chess match. I believe the fight is up for grabs. I believe Mayweather has put his legacy up for grabs by picking one of boxing's better technicians as an opponent. Let's spice it up even more. Guerrero has holes in his game. We saw that against Dwyer and Orlando Salido. Guerrero can't handle heavy volume. He can't handle, guys who can set up shop and throw a lot of hooks, right? He can't handle that volume. The open question is whether, in his mid-30s, Floyd Mayweather can generate that volume. I have my doubts. Mayweather might look at the Orlando Salido tape and say, okay, this is the way to beat Robert Guerrero. But when's the last time you saw Mayweather, who's more of an accuracy guy than a work rate guy, when's the last time you saw Floyd Mayweather throw hundreds of punches more than his opponent? Or throw what you would consider to be a high volume of punches in a championship fight? So this fight has wrinkles. But the big question is, who is the hunter and who is the hunted? If you see Floyd Mayweather on his front foot and Robert Guerrero on his back foot circling Mayweather, this has all the makings of a great fight. I believe the fight's going to be up for grabs. Let me hear from you. Leave your comments for me here online. Visit us at gamblersadvisory.com. Let me also say this. Guys who like to be hunted, think Ali. When they're in against a guy who doesn't hunt them, they often don't know what to do. I keep saying, look at the Ali Jimmy Young tape. There's a moment in that fight where Ali is begging Jimmy Young to come throw punches at him. Look at the Sergio Martinez Martin Murray tape. Same dynamic, where Martin Murray's a bit timid, right? I was expecting Murray to be more aggressive. Murray's a bit timid. He doesn't leap in. Sergio Martinez doesn't know what to do. He literally then starts begging Murray to come forward. Right? Now Floyd, who fought on his front foot against Shambe Mitchell, right? If you see Floyd trying to egg Robert Guerrero to come forward, you'll know the fight's not going Floyd's way, because Floyd has skillfully been fighting guys, again, De La Hoya, Cotto, Hatton, who came forward on their own volition. I believe Robert Guerrero's not going to do that. I think Guerrero is going to play a cat and mouse game. He's going to force Floyd to use his legs. And that's when this is going to get interesting. Let me hear from you. Leave your comments for me here online. Visit us at gamblersadvisory.com and on Roku at Dwyer Boxing News. If you go to the Roku site, you can just type in my name, Dwyer. It'll pull the channel right up. Thanks for watching.